So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, villains, and welcome to a pretty despondent for the Love of Paul McGrath podcast as Aston Villa go to London and lose 4-1 against the Crystal Palace team. And to be honest with you, there was about 40 minutes of that game whereby Villa just did not show up, and it shows in the scoreboard. And like we can talk about, there's a lot of talking points, I suppose, with regards to the game, but just a really deflating one, a really flat one, a really, to be honest with you, I'm fucking pissed off with that performance. Pissed off with a lot of things that happened in that game. And it seems like it's a bit of a line in the sand, I think, for Aston Villa's Premier League aspirations over the course of, for the rest of the season. And that's kind of shit to have on the 25th of February, unfortunately, but we are where we are. How are you feeling, Paddy?
I'm spitting teeth now at this stage. I'm very annoyed. I was annoyed from the start, and before I even get talking about anyone with a fucking whistle or sitting in a box in fucking Stockley Park, we got the whole thing fucking wrong. The whole setup from the start, the lineup was wrong, the subs were wrong. Like, have you ever known a goalkeeper to get injured so much at half time as the one we have? There's so much wrong here, and you know, there's an awful lot of people need to have a fucking look at themselves. I feel sorry for Daniel Mallon. There's a fella that must be fucking sitting on a bus back to Birmingham tonight going, what have I come into here that I can't get a game in a performance like that? I'm just fuming, absolutely fuming.
What was your view on the team that went out? I have a different opinion to a lot of people that say that the initial starting team that Unai sent out was the wrong team. I would have preferred to have Rashford and Asensio in there, obviously, but I don't think we played particularly awful in the first half. Like the second half was just puce, like it really was. And I think that all stems to the substitution of Garcia off and Bailey on. Still makes no sense. And as you say, that's why I bring that up, is because of the Daniel Mallon piece. It makes no sense. And we often get criticized, and God knows I get it the whole time. I get criticized of, oh, but you never said this about this person. Oh, but you never said that about this person. And, you know, like Emery got it wrong about Bailey. Bailey, like, we've spoken an awful lot about him, but to bring him on and to change the formation at halftime, maybe that's what he wanted to do. He just wasn't the right substitution, and it just proved in the second half because every ball that came from the left to the right was a slaughter fest on on Disassi, who was playing at right back at that stage.
If he brought him on to change formation, it should have been Bogard that went off, and either Disassi or Gonza played in a back four. I don't know what he was at today. I think the lineup from the start was wrong. How we can spend that amount of money on wages on these two loan players, and when we need to win the fucking game, they're sitting on the bench. I just can't get my head around it. There's so much about this performance and the team selection I can't get my head around. As I said, Daniel Mallon, he must be going absolutely buck ape in that dressing room tonight. And I'd love to know what happened at halftime with Emi Martinez. We didn't see any injury whatsoever, other than the pride of not being able to push that far enough away from the goal for the first goal that was conceded. Bringing Bailey in there and Olsen at halftime, like, talk about killing the confidence of the fans and the players around them. Just the mind boggles to what the thinking was. To leave those two guys out at the start, not even put one of them on at the start. I don't know. And look, while we love him, and while we appreciate everything he's done for the club, when he makes mistakes, we have to call him out. That goes for Unai Emery. That goes for Emi Martinez as well. What the hell is going on with that tonight? I put my fingers in places where I shouldn't be putting it, but you know, there was a lot wrong with what the officials did during the game. But we can only point the finger at ourselves that we didn't turn up. We really
Yeah,
didn't turn up.
I think the VAR decisions did have an effect because there were pivotal points in the game. You know, you go in one all at halftime, and you'll have to walk a long road. And a lot of people replied to a tweet that I had saying offside is offside, and that's the problem. Like, guys, I'm not saying things about pixels on screens just because it sounds good on Twitter. I do that stuff. I've done that stuff for a living. Where I've taken pictures and I've taken them at a far greater degree of quality than what you see on the screen there. And I've drawn those vector lines. I've done that stuff, not in a VAR situation. I've done it with probably more high-powered technology, and in situations where you need to do it for a very specific outcome. And I know how difficult it is to find the correct pixel from a way clearer image than that. It just boils my brain and every other internal organ I have to see the I don't know. Like, I can't get my head around it. There is no, look, I'm not even going to get talking about it. I'm not going to get talking about it because I'm only kind of flogging a horse that I know, and it just annoys me about that. It really, really does. That really annoys me, that VAR decision. And look, if it's offside, it's fine. But they do themselves no favors with regards to that. And I think that's a pivotal moment because I think you're 1-1 before halftime. Who's to say that Morgan Rogers doesn't get his goal in the second half? But if he does, we're 2-1 up. And then you've got the penalty incident on Jacob Ramsey. People say it's harsh. Lads, they were given, like, Matty Cash's penalty at the start of the year. You have to walk a long road. If there's contact like that, the player jumps to the side of Jacob Ramsey and catches his foot. It wasn't an accidental coming together. It was because of a movement that the defender made. Whether he meant to bring him down or not, I don't know. And that's just my twopence worth on that whole and the whole VAR stuff. I just don't understand it. I don't understand the lack of consistency, and I certainly will never ever understand the pixels. I will never understand the drawing of lines and the vector pixels. And that's, as I say, I'm not trying to be better than thou or whatever the case is, but that's coming from somebody who had to do stuff like that before and in a different setting, and it just kills me. It kills me when you can't, you know, there's no way that you can be conclusive when you're picking pixels there, none whatsoever. And that's my rant on VAR over. I'm done.
If he's offside, he's offside. If you're going to draw the lines, draw the lines. Where was the delay in drawing the lines for Sarr's second goal? There was no delay.
There was no lines.
Why do it for one and not do it for the other? I'll tell you why.
They were offside in the build up to the first
goal.
They
don't want us at the party. They don't want us at the party.
I don't know about that. I just think they're silly. I think
they didn't give the penalty. They didn't give the penalty.
Yeah.
And yes, they can come out at the start of the season and say Matty Cash kicked the ball, but that wasn't his intention. So are they saying that Jacob Ramsey was kicked, but that wasn't his intention? Is that what it is? Because they are fucking making it up week in, week out. It's gone beyond a joke. Those two penalty decisions for ourselves and Everton at the weekend, absolute joke. Protecting Chelsea, protecting Man United. There's nobody to protect tonight, only themselves. But that they've been given those penalties for the last 4 years on VAR, and they didn't give it tonight. So, but they like that's as much as I'm going to say about the officials because they don't deserve our airtime. The most important thing here tonight is that the wrong team was picked. We went out what looked like ill-prepared for what was against us, and we didn't have enough in our locker to go and win it. We had enough on our bench to go and win it, but they weren't on the pitch. One of them didn't get on at all. The other two only came on when the game was probably up at that stage. It's just a hard one to even try and unpick because it was just so fractured from the start. We got into a tussle with them in midfield where the balls were just bouncing off each other. They were more than happy to get into that kind of battle. And look, it's a tough one to take, but I'm really at a loss to even second guess why he went with the team he went with.
Yeah, and guys, I'm not even going to show up the comments. Some people are saying stop blaming the refs. We were our own issue. We started off talking about, like, if you missed the start of the podcast, I apologize for what I'm going to say now. We literally gave out about Unai Emery. We gave out about we gave out about the players' performance, and we blame them first, specifically because we didn't want to come across as money bastards about the referee. So go back and watch the start of the podcast if you haven't seen that already. And I'm sorry if you are just after coming in there, please go back and watch it, because we've gone through that. We've been through that already, and I'm a bit pissed off.
I had it half an hour ago with people not reading my tweet and doing the same thing. I said we were piss poor, and that's what we were. Piss poor. Yeah. We lost the game tonight because of ourselves, not because of the referee. Would it have made a difference? I don't know. I honestly don't know. We were poor. The officials were poor. Palace weren't any better, but they got the goals. So there you go. That's the difference.
Just looking at the results, I didn't even see any of the other games, any of the other results. Yeah. It doesn't make great reading. Although still, if you want to look at the positive side of things, we've 2 extra games played, but 1 win gets us up to 5th. Like it's complete false economy. With regards to that. I'm just looking at the team here, at the table here now. But it's a really deflating one. This one, Ipswich, Wolves. Okay, we had the good result against Chelsea in between, with the good result against Spurs in between. But the consistency of inconsistency has killed an opportunity to get into 5th place. Especially with that top being so concertinaed at the moment. And apologies, I'm not looking at the screen, but I will say one thing. Like, there's there's going to be a lot of people saying, the questions have to be asked to Unai Emery and all that. Yeah, but they do. But you also have to move on from that as well, because it's not a case whereby Unai Emery's in the hot seat. We can't go from one extreme to the other in that aspect. Yes, he had an issue. This is 11th centre half partnership he had to try and put in there today. Put in 3 at the back because he had no natural left footer in there. Put Bogard at that left side, he had Disasi, he had Konza. So when we look about stuff like that, we all wanted Rashford and Asensio after what they did at the weekend, or did against Chelsea at the weekend, and I still think they should have started. I absolutely do. But you're going, he was thinking about his defence first, and did it work? I think in the first half, I think they played okay. I think the team was a lot more together. There was a lot more consistent in the first half. We created some chances. We didn't take them. They score from their first shot on targets parried away, and then Sarr comes in and scores it. There was potential offsides in the build-up. We don't get that. That's fine. We go down 1-0. But the first half was much better than the second half, and it was much better for a reason, because that was the system we went out to play, and I think we played it pretty well. I think we did pretty well. The goal that Morgan Rogers scores that gets chalked off, the work Ollie Watkins does for that is incredible. And we got 1 or 2 chances, albeit that they were flimsy chances. We didn't allow Crystal Palace as many chances. We changed it up in the second half. It was just literally run riot. Every time they had it on the right hand side and crossed it to the left hand side, we were as open to the beans. I can't think of any other analogy. I could think of another analogy, but we've done a lot of swearing on the podcast, Paddy, and I didn't want to bring the tenor of the podcast down anymore. So for me, there's a lot that we can look at and say we weren't happy with, or we wanted Rashford, or we wanted Asensio, and we can always look back and say, yes, they needed to start those guys. And I'm with you guys. Don't get me wrong. So keep the pelters if they're coming. I'm not looking at the comments at the moment. I'm with you guys on that. But I can see the reasoning for it. 11 centre-half partnerships over the course of how many games have we played? 28 games? And 11 of them have had different centre-half partnership. That's incredible. That has to be a record. It just has to be 11 different, and not doing it by choice either as well. So we got it wrong. We got it wrong certainly in the second half. We got 2 open in the second half. I would have loved if we had a Barkley and an Onana to bring on there at some stage to give the midfield. I thought McGinn tired. I know I'm going to be pretty harsh on me, and I'm going to call it midfield in general. Mateta runs across the 2 centre halves, turns around, runs across the other way, and the midfielder looking at him. Now there's a bit of distance for Sarr's third goal. For the third goal, Sarr's second goal, midfielder looking at him again, make that run from deep. Bogart has to go to try and cut out the cross that comes across the box. He has to go, and I know people online were saying, why is he running away from Sarr there? You have to go as a centre half there. You have to go to protect the front of the box there. Midfielder looking at the players that are running afterwards, and I think hindsight is 2020, and if ifs and buts are candy and nuts, and my aunt be my uncle, whatever the case you want to call it, midfield looked tired. Tielemans looked tired at the end, and McGinn looked tired at the end, and they probably should look tired because they're on like their fourth or fifth game of having to play 90 minutes in a row, and that's like.
And I know
we'd all love to say we do it for £1 million a year. We'd all love to say we do, but we'd still get tired. You know, we'd still get tired.
I know you're saying you're not going harsh on the centre of midfield, but you've got to give some credit to Crystal Palace, who absolutely bullied us in midfield. That got in both Tielemans and McGinn's face every time they were on the ball.
Yeah.
They were absolutely excellent at doing that, and that's probably where the game was won and lost. We couldn't get the ball into the final third. We didn't have the out ball of a Pau Torres to play a through ball like that. It just became even more and more difficult. So give them the credit where it's due. I'm seeing a lot of comments in the comments there saying that the commentary was all one-sided. Yeah, well, a team wins 4-1. That's the way it's going to be.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, nearly every single home team, like when we were at home as well, the commentary is very like if we're playing at home against Brentford, it's very Villa centric as well. So I think we notice it when it's against us, but you know, a lot of the time we don't notice it when it's for us. It's just something I've noticed this year. That the home team seems to get the red carpet laid out in the commentary, and I'm okay with that. It happens an awful lot in American sports as well. So I don't pay too much attention to it, but you are right. You know, you're right.
If somebody is in the comments and they've heard any interviews or reports afterwards, can you tell us what happened with Emi Martinez? Because this is eating away at me since that
He must have been sick. Like he must have been sick or something along those lines. Like
was he sick, or was there an incident in the dressing room? That's like everybody come out for the second half looking like they were in terrible form. What the hell went on? There was no challenge on him, no nothing.
There's been there's been nothing said about there being an incident in the dressing room.
But I'm just telling you what I saw. I'm seeing people coming out. He comes out himself, slumps into the seat, banging the side of the dugout. That's not like him at all. Really strange night in total. I'm at a loss from start to finish. And look, for the people in the comments saying Emery out, absolutely not Emery out.
Who's saying Emery out in the comments? That might be
people have said it, yeah.
Jesus. I'm joking, by the way. I'm not going to ban anyone for saying Emery out.
Yeah. It's look, it's a tough one, but I've all but given up now on the league situation at this stage because we can't put a run of games together. I saw some stat today where we've only won back-to-back games twice, I think, all season, which is nuts. So that's not the kind of form that gets you into European places. So it'll be interesting to see what he plays Friday night. If that's all he can come up with tonight against Crystal Palace, we should be going there and doing much better than we did. We didn't. We played a poor game. We're still missing players. Still no excuse. There's world-class players in there to pick from. We need to go and put our best team on the pitch. Tonight was the night to do it. We've got one game here. We've got Cardiff on Friday night, and then we only play one league game in March. We needed to go for this fucking bald-headed, and we didn't. And as a result, now we're playing catch-up again.
Yeah. Look, Danny says, regardless of the 11 centre-back partnerships, no matter who plays or is available, it's a shamble in the defence. I think you've hit the nail in the head. Like, you know, you have all the positions that you need to have more stability in, or there needs to be comfortability, familiarity, bond, whatever you call it, chemistry. It's the centre half position, you know. So if you are consistently changing, Dara put in a great point here down. I can't find it. Look, Liverpool had 18 centre back partnerships in the first 6 months of the 2020-2021 season, and Dara will know because he is Mr. Stats, literally. You know, and I don't know how Liverpool's 2020-2021 situation went, but I can't imagine. I'd imagine that was the time that they had Nat Phillips and all those guys playing centre half for them, you know. So it is context, lads. Like, you know, it's not excuse, and we're not making an excuse, but it is huge context for defensive frailties. You know, if you have to change your centre half partnership once every 2 games, essentially, it's going to be an issue. You know, it just will. It's not common to have that happen. It really isn't. And people can disagree with me all they want, but it's the one area of the field where you have to have more chemistry than anything else, especially when you're running an offside driven defense like we have been previously. And then you take into account the injuries at right back as well. How many right backs have we used? How many times we had to push Cons out there as well? It's infuriating. It's frustrating, and it's leading to us being annoyed and conceding goals.
After everything we've done in the transfer window, there's still passengers there. There's still guys that aren't up to the standards of what we need to succeed. I'm not going to call it any more names at this stage, but very hard to draw a line under it after what we watched tonight, especially in the second half. But absolutely not in a camp of Unai out. But we can absolutely.
Anyone who's saying Unai out is like I think there's massive debate there. Like, you know, God, but you can't move from one extreme to the other. You can't wake up in the morning and say Unai out. I disagree with you. I fully respect your the right you have to say it, and you can shout it as loud as you want, but I don't have to disagree. I don't have to agree with it, and I certainly don't. Nor will 99% of the Aston Villa fan base. I don't think. It's just my view on it. Anyway, I'm going because I have to go on Claret and the Blue, and guess what? Cheer for me because I have to talk about this twice. Yay! And I'm going on Claret and the Blue. We'll be on Claret and the Blue, brand new podcast with Dan Ronaldson, and I'm just watching Backstar's first goal again. Oh, Jesus Christ. Putting me in bad form before having to do this. But listen, thanks a million, guys. I know we were probably a bit more salty than we normally are, but I think the occasion warranted a bit of saltiness to our, you know, a bit of realism, a bit of annoyance, a bit of apathy. You know, not. I said in a tweet, I'm going to find it very difficult to be my normal stoic, passive self, you know, with regards to that performance. But it is what it is now, and as you said, Paddy, we have a long wait. Really, we've only one game to put it right, and then we've a long wait after that where we've got Champions League. So, you know, cheer up about that, and also FA Cup. So March isn't the write-off, and but we have a busy April and May to come, and you know what will come then in the next few weeks with regards to where our mindset, I suppose, will be for the rest of the year. But anyway, thanks a million everybody for watching and for listening. Jesus, there was nearly 1,500 people in here at one stage. God's. People who definitely came for the VAR rant, I think, Paddy. And the one time you went handy on it. But I'm only joking. But we do need to.
There was no point. There was no point. We were beaten by ourselves. We weren't beaten by exactly. VAR decisions. They certainly didn't fucking help. But there's no point. There's absolutely no point. Yeah. We lost the game ourselves at the end of the day, conceding 4 goals to a piss poor Palace team that have been shied at home for most of the season. We got what we deserved. Palace were better than us in the day, and we didn't show up. Anyway, that's going to be it, lads. See you again soon for previews and all that jazz. I do have something. Look, for anybody who's interested in a bit of nostalgia, I've got a nice little piece I did with Ivan McDowell. This has written a book on Aston Villa from 93 to 96 and the successes of the Coca-Cola Cup. Maybe I might take your mind off the game tonight. That'll be coming out tomorrow. Please give that some ears and take a look at Ivan's book as well, because you guys will be familiar with him. He did a lot of work with Up the Villa before as well. He's a proper Villa fan, and you might even find out why the 1994 League Cup final was so special for him, but I won't spoil it for you. You'll have to watch the podcast to find out. Anyway, thanks a million, everybody. Fair play, badly needed.
What was that?
We could do it lighten in the mood after tonight. Exactly. That's badly needed.
Yeah. But and listen, thanks very much, lads, for putting up with us, and for, you know, we're just fans like you guys, and we suffer from emotions and everything else like everyone else. So we'll regroup. I'll regroup the emotional sanity again, and we'll be back for Team Sheet Tantrums, podcast previews, whatever, you know, in the coming days for Cardiff at the weekend. But in the meantime, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say, even in defeat, is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.